With 2021 in full swing, let's take a look back at the year that was 2020 for our local real estate market. 2020, where to begin? Let's take a look at the number of new listings over the last 5 years. You can see there's a natural seasonal fluctuation, bottoming out in December and peaking in May or June. February 2020 was our strongest February for new listings since 2016. With a healthy economy and low interest rates, it looked like we were on our way to a busy real estate market. Obviously, 2020 didn't turn out as many of us planned. Shelter in place went into effect on March 23rd, and though real estate was classified as essential, the lockdown changed the plans of many people who intended to sell. March, April, May, and June, all months expected growth in number of listings, instead saw record low numbers. July, August, September, and October were all relatively strong in terms of new listings. October and December in particular saw many more listings than we'd expected for the months over the last 5 years. Instead of a late spring, early summer spike that we'd expect, we got a flattened curve of new listings. And when 2020 ended, we were actually 1.4% ahead of 2019 for the year. The abnormal curve meant that buyers saw reduced options for much of the year that naturally led to higher prices and shorter time each house sat on the market. This graph showed the average number of days on market over the last 5 years, broken down by residential and condo. Residential makes up about 80% of our market. Time on market fluctuates with supply and demand, so we expect to see it rise and fall. But look at the rate at which it fell in 2020. We began 2020 equal to late 2016. That 2016 figure fell steadily and bottomed out in 2018. Compare that to the fall we saw in 2020 alone. Not only did we match the 2-year drop in just one, we fell past it to a new record low. The houses that were listed were flying off the market, and those houses were frequently involved in multiple offer bidding war situations. If we look month by month at the percent of list price sellers were receiving over the year, we can see that only January was under 100%, and at that it was 99.9%. We can also see that every month was an increase over 2019. The increase at the end of the year was particularly notable. They were the difference between just getting asking price and getting over asking price. We can also see the effect of demand when we look at the median sale price. When residential and condo are combined, we see the overall we had 11.5% increase over 2019. If we look at the year for residential, we see every month finds growth apart from May. And again, the end of the year is notable for growth rates of 13, 17, and 19%. The other factor that certainly contributed to demand were interest rates. We began 2020 with a great average rate of 3.72 on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Though not a record, at the time that was on par with the lowest rates we'd ever seen. But in an effort to stimulate an uncertain economy, rates continued to drop, setting record after record. At the time of filming, our average is all the way down to 2.65. These lower rates give buyers more room to compete when they're looking for a home. On my website, you'll find a link to a mortgage estimator. Using it, we can see that the monthly payment on a 30-year mortgage for $575,000 with 20% down would be about $2,640 at the beginning of the year. By the end of the year, with rates dropping, that payment drops to $2,370, a 10% savings. So what does this mean for 2021? Well, if 2020 taught us anything about predictions, it's not to make them. But with low rates and low supply, we can expect a continued strong market for sellers. I would expect us to return to seasonal patterns that look less like 2020 and more like the 4 years that preceded it. Whatever happens, I'll be here as your resource for the local real estate market. If you have questions about last year or you're considering getting into the market for 2021, I'd love to help. Send me an email. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel to get the latest updates and home tips. Stay safe and thanks for watching.